Hi there, welcome back to the Kenny Veach M Cave Mystery. Today we've got a couple of things to get through, ranging from acknowledging comments recently, interesting points of views with the most latest articles out there. You know, people did pick up on some points and also acknowledge some of what I was saying, so there could be a consistency and pattern there. But on top of all that, one of the more unique parts of this video, don't go anywhere. We're going to be doing another analysis and looking back on an M Cave hiker. You know, I've done these standalone videos from time to time. I still need to do one on SB Vega's adventures. That can be a standalone one too. But it's looking back at JChuck. JChuck has been very active on his channel recently, as well the community tab section and overall the Kenny Veach community. And there might be some people that misunderstand JChuck or sense he's a troublemaker, okay? I'm just going to give you my thoughts, right? It isn't just all about that. It's not a negative. It's just about clearing things up when it comes to JChuck because, you know, with time, new people will come along. And if they see JChuck in a negative light or they hear from the wrong source, they might be put off in listening to him. But it would be important to get both sides of the story because JChuck has been involved in this case and physically been hiking out there and recording the footage. So it is important for people to watch if they do get the chance to. And it can serve as a heads up, right? So for people that do watch my channel regularly, new to this channel, new to the case, pointing people in the direction of here's another hiker. Here's another person that's done the M Cave hike, tried looking for Kenny as a recovery mission, but also tried looking for the mysterious M Cave, right? Because he does have his own channel and he does have some key videos there. I know in the past, some videos may have been deleted or, I don't know, privatized, maybe if a mistake was made or something was found, turned out to be debunked, but you know, there is hike footage on there. Maybe it is hard to find some of them, maybe the titles of the videos, but, you know, for most part of it, where you see hike footage, it tends to be, you know, Joe May Canyon and in that range because he does find the area interesting, whether it be spiritually or the slight mystery about it, also in recent time. So you could call it a bit of a messy video, this, but I don't know, you could call it a response video to JChuck recently. I know he tagged me in a few stuff and some of it to do with the Kenny Veach discussions. I think it initially started to give it like a backstory. This backstory may help some other people out there who've picked up on the potential drama and conflict coming out of all this community. It'll make more sense in a second, so make sure to stick around. Just want to say, for those that are currently here in this live premiere, welcome. Be sure to share your thoughts and opinions in the live chat box. And if you want to elaborate, leave comments down below. For people that are watching on catch up, watching this video later day, leave your comments down below, leave your thoughts. In the comment section pinned, you will see a post by me with additional links if you wish to check them out, as well as a link to possibly support the channel but in an anonymous way, arguably more practical than the YouTube method. But just put it there if people ever want to check it out. And also, I didn't before, but I'll do it in a limited way because of respect for one's privacy. Shout out to one individual out there. Shout out to them for their alternative super chat last night elsewhere. Okay, it always sounds funny when I say it because it sounds so mysterious and secretive, but it's only because, you know, you don't want to be saying too much because it's been done in the background. That sounds even more dodgy. Never mind, forget that. But yeah, just in general, shout out to the people that do show support to this channel. I'd say in recent time, you know, when people have been watching along, it's been reasonable, hasn't it? You know, there's been focus, but there's also been discussion. I think there was a brief patch where there's some birds outside. I don't know what they're doing. It's weird, they just keep all hovering about. The apocalypse. Don't know. It's probably the weather as well, because it's like a storm coming on in here. Not that bad, but it's probably impacting the birds flying about. you know, the flight patterns and all that. I don't know where I'm at now. But yeah, as for today, share your thoughts, opinions down below. Give the backstory first with JChuck, with being mentioning my name. Later on in this video, we can transition on to the comments from the previous video. If you are interested in the last video that I did cover, top right corner of the screen, eye symbol, you'll be redirected over there. The key thing though, besides comments last night, it did create some new ideas for videos to be made, so I'll get round to that eventually, okay? Because there's still things to cover right now. But yeah, so the backstory of the presence of JChuck, I'm not talking about the beginning, right? Because I know JChuck has been around for some time. I don't know when exactly he appeared, 2020 or 2021, when he got really stuck in, right? And even was working alongside Jay Silverheels, definitely working alongside Jeff Clark, even if there were disagreements with time, it worked well. And I guess even with some of my videos too. So as bad as the odd few people out there may think it is, it's not. I would say it's been somewhat controlled, and it's turned out. There's been some messy moments, but then it's kind of ended in a slightly funny way at times. But the backstory with JChuck recently, it kind of all ties back to my coverage, right? So after coming back from Dylan Rounds, going on to Kenny Veach, focusing there a bit more, back-to-back videos, and recently that police report, which some people remember, kind of did like an updated analysis of that, just letting new people know about it too, who may not know the original story and the dates and the times, right? But then it was met with a few responses from the odd individual, as I've defended myself against in recent time. JChuck got involved too. Jeff Clark got involved, but Jeff Clark was in a way defending me, which was good. JChuck started going off, branching off in the direction of Susan Veach, then Kenny Veach, and then Sharon Pilgrim. I mean, this is the thing. When it comes to JChuck, when his thoughts are there, and what he thinks, if he defends somebody, he will defend somebody, right? One of those situations, like really locked on. Not a bad thing, you could say it's quite loyal, if you call that a positive trait, loyalty to someone, as JChuck has demonstrated. But not loyalty in being a slave, not like that. JChuck does his own thing, and he seems to have it somewhat under control. He seems to know what he's doing, at least. And some people could say, really? Well, look at him going out there hiking. Very demanding, extreme, and even with limited resources, and pushing himself as part of training and the French Foreign Legion in the past. You know, he's always managed to make it back. So you consider that a positive, right? And with whatever equipment he uses, that seems to help him along the way. Speaking of the M Cave hike, if you're wondering there. But from the perspective of others out there that might see JChuck, they might think, oh, he's like really pandering or like bowing down to somebody because he's been really supportive and also a bit defensive at times, and saying a lot of greatness and positivity about a person within the case, such as Kenny Veach, saying he's a hero as a hiker, he should be well known, he is the one, something like that. Or then referring to maybe Susan Veach at one point, saying, upon correspondence, the intel I have received seals it, it's now complete, it's concrete. We know what's happened. We know what's the situation now. We know it's not a recovery anymore, or if it is, that's the type of like language he uses. Maybe the advanced vocabulary and wording. Maybe at times it could be a language barrier with some people out there, right? You could say JChuck's channel is a bit more specific, maybe a bit more of a niche, but the people that are present or watching because they're interested in what he's got to say and the videos he does, right? That's one way of looking at it. JChuck, more so recent time, has defended Sharon Pilgrim, and some people may have said or would think that it's a little bit delusional doing that. I'll give you my thoughts in a second. that JChuck believes, at this moment in time at least, Sharon Pilgrim, the girlfriend of Kenny Veach, is innocent, is some kind of like victim in it all, hurt by Kenny, possibly, saddened by what's happened, and that's it. There's nothing strange about her, there's no suspicion, nothing dark, she's innocent, and that's it. I'll give you my thoughts right now. So, in a way, because I've seen a level of consistency with JChuck, I'd come to the conclusion that besides loyalty, one thing that JChuck has, a key trait, which is a positive, but sometimes can become a vulnerability, is seeing the best in almost everyone. Whilst that can have its strengths, it can have its weaknesses. You may fall for someone. And when I say fall, I don't mean directly in the way people would think, but more so you might believe in them too much when they don't believe in themselves. Or they show a different side to them down the line, and it could come off as a bit hurtful, a bit sharp response. It might cause damage in some way. It could cause trust issues, one of those type of situations. Some people could throw in the pattern and say, oh, JChuck is only defending all these females because there is some kind of agenda going on. But that can be eliminated because JChuck has defended Kenny Veach, who's a male. And he's also been positive and highly regarded some individuals in the case up there, maybe investigators who are males too. So there's nothing weird going on there in case people start, coming up with ideas. Because as we know, this case and community, it can go off track at times with certain types of ideas, right? But with JChuck, at this moment in time, current focus, the girlfriend or the ex-girlfriend of Kenny Veach, right? Maybe it's because if JChuck looks up to Kenny Veach in a positive way, he would do the same for the girlfriend, because for the girlfriend to, at one point, be with Kenny and Kenny approved of her, vice versa. Well, if Kenny's good enough, then Sharon must be too. Maybe JChuck has that idea of great minds think alike. So if Kenny is seen as great, then anyone else that follows him is too. Is that how JChuck thinks? The other thing to acknowledge with the vulnerability part, you could visualize someone as a hero, a god, I don't know, whatever it might be. And if the cracks start forming down the line, you start seeing a different side. Things change, new information comes about. It could make you a bit disappointed. Those expectations could fall and flop, and it's like, oh, he's not that great, or that person isn't a nice individual after all that. Oh, that's a shame. So it's always good to have something to fall back on too, right? And that's like a general situation. You could think the best of someone, or you could trust someone very well, but also still have something to fall back on, whether it be like a distraction, or if it be a different thought, right? So you don't get damaged too much. Has JChuck been hurt or damaged in this case? Don't think so. I wouldn't say JChuck has been harmed, threatened, or attacked in that sense. With Sean Hallacker, he has been. Jeff Clark's come across some odd individuals. I've been attacked in some way or another. Scott Natal, not really sure. SB Vegas Adventures, don't think so. Might have had the odd encounter, but physically, maybe not. Or online, maybe not. Any corrections, you can do so down below, right? This could be a standalone video, right? The concept and idea of, if there is something really dark out there, out of all the hikers, what have they experienced? How many hikers have been attacked in this case? You think you're getting too close to the truth? How many? If all hikers have been attacked or received resistance after going out there and recording a certain area, that could be a form of certainty to highlight, well, maybe that's the hotspot. Do you know, like when you get a cadaver dog and it reacts a certain way in a certain area, and maybe a couple of dogs do the same? It's a level of consistency. With the Dylan Rounds case, over time, dogs kept hitting a certain area, but unfortunately nothing was found, but there was that, concept that there was something once there, right? So you got to look for patterns of consistency. When you notice them, it could highlight a truth, it could highlight something you could uncover and reach out onto. But referring back to JChuck specifically, I don't think he has really been attacked in that sense, though he has some weird experiences in recent time, right? And I guess you could argue with JChuck being out there a bit more frequent, there might be more chances and opportunity in feeling, seeing, hearing, sensing unusual stuff you normally wouldn't, okay? You go out there once in the year, or once in a lifetime, there's no guarantee that you will find or come across anything scary, odd, strange, or exciting. It's not guaranteed, right? Also depends the weather. Also depends if there's been any recent activity there or not. But if you're there more frequently, you might see more changes with time. Like if you was driving down a road and you see trees being planted, or no, you go down a road and there's like construction work. Every day you go down there, there's always that chance that one of the days some construction work could go wrong and someone could have an accident on the side and you might witness it. It might not be good. But if you only pass down that road once or twice in the year, you're not going to see enough. You're not going to see it all in one day. No, you got to be there as often as possible. And when it comes to a hike like the Veach one, it's pretty demanding. Location, distance, time, travel, all kinds of stuff. The practicalities of it. But if someone was able to be there on a consistent basis, they might pick up on more. They'd have more chances of maybe hearing sounds or feeling weird sensations. Look at Jeff Claw, right? Jeff Claw had his own experiences such as the vibration feeling and as well the time issue, how it seemed to drag on when he wasn't really there that long, or he felt he wasn't there that long, but the time seemed to jump ahead, which was a bit odd. Now, Jeff Claw's a good example of someone that hasn't been out there lots of times, but he's been out there more than enough, right? A couple of occasions. And yet, even with a couple of hikes out there, he still actually experienced some strange stuff. You compare it to other people like JChuck and SB who have been out there more times, has it led to more experiences? Well, it's led to the chances of it increasing, but it's taken some of those hikers longer to experience weird things, right? SB, good example, even JChuck, and they were close together too. So I don't know why it's taken longer for them to experience that, and it's taken more attempts and tries out there to be in the presence of it. Now, they weren't directly going out there to get that experience. They were just out there because they're interested, they're passionate, and they're looking for the cave and maybe looking for Kenny as well. And it just happens to tie in line with other stuff running in parallel, out of their control. These things, these factors out there in the environment, out of one's control. You don't know when it's going to happen. Unexpected, uncertainty. That's what can lead to the, the presence of it when it does come about, and the feeling when faced with it, whatever it is. Something you're used to or not, can alter how you react. And with JChuck, referring back to him being out there, and just in the community, I wouldn't say JChuck has been attacked, not really been targeted. You might have got in disagreements and stuff with Artari, with Jeff Claw, bit back and forth, but that was it. It wasn't that bad, right? Which is a positive. It's good if some people aren't attacked, because it creates that chance of that person being able to continue on, compared to somebody that feels threatened 24/7 and then has to back away because it's too much, right? So it's good that some people aren't being attacked. So it at least enables them to continue onwards. And obviously JChuck does other videos too besides the hikes, all kinds of deep topics and discussions, right? And, the way he talks, some people might catch JChuck when he's shouting or talking in a different language, or if he's singing some opera in the desert, or he suddenly jumps into the water like a cannonball, disappears, and then pops his head back up further down into the water. All kinds of, like a mix of things. Would have been a mix of stuff on his channel. I'm sure it will interest different people with time, right? And, you know, whether it be the text, right? You see his messages, his comments when he's defending someone, such as within the case. If it's not that, it could be done in a video format. And if it's not to do with the case, it could be about something else. But at times you can see his facial expressions, JChuck. Sometimes he's grinding or gritting his teeth. He might be frowning slightly. His face is like, his muscles are contracting. That might be at a time where he's most passionate, you know? His tone and voice might change slightly because he's expressing himself, he's getting everything out, but at the same time he might be trying to defend something or make something as clear as possible, right? Sometimes people express themselves more when they're more passionate, so maybe that's what JChuck does, but it also translates to when he's typing text-based messages online. And obviously when it comes to text-based messages and comments, that can at times be misunderstood by people more than if it was talking face-to-face or through like a phone call, right? Now in my experience, it doesn't matter. I am Mr. Misunderstood. Dylan Round's community clearly highlights that, and I have documented it with time if you want reference points there, right? Have I been misunderstood in the Kenny Veach case? Not as much. The people that have had problems with me, I would say subconsciously, they know what they say is wrong, but they just want to put a certain agenda across because they just simply don't like how I cover things, right? I've seen some dodgy comments, dodgy default profiles recent time. We're going back through the rounds. We're going back through the waves of stuff. On me, on anyone else, not from the looks of it, but then again, because of my coverage, my consistency, it will make me more of a target. It's just one of those things. You can argue SB Vega's adventures videos and JChuck's videos, their actual hikes, boots on ground, but those videos are more important than mine. But just because I am doing it on a more day-to-day basis, or at least when I can, and when it's practical, and when there's valid stuff to point out, the targeting, right? The targeting system of these agendas will be put out towards the key hotspot, what's currently active, what's currently happening. And if someone is always around, standing out, well, that's going to be the place to go. That could be seen as the beacon, the hub of the whole Kenny Veach community. So that's the place what we're going to attack. The default profiles recently, same old regurgitated, recycled, false claims of Warlight Ref is covering this case and switching and changing because when it fails or his videos aren't getting enough views, he moves on to something else. The interesting thing is, one or two of those comments which was posted today or yesterday were deleted by the person that posted them. So either it's because they realised they messed up, or it's because it's the chessboard game. Chessboard. Very similar to Dylan Round's community. And the behaviour and wording and language by these individuals of the points mentioned, very similar to some or someone out there. Naughty, naughty. When will one learn? But to put it into perspective for those that may not be fully aware, Kenny Veach case, more popular than others out there, more popular than other cases I've covered, right? But in recent time, I moved back to Dylan Round's, a less popular case. Less people watch my videos on Dylan Rounds compared to Kenny Veach M Cave. But I made a decision to spend a couple of days or so covering Dylan Rounds because there was things to cover. Regardless of the statistics, there were things to cover. It needed to be done, right? And because in the past, there was more people watching, there's always that chance that down the line, people could return back and at least those videos are out there in place for people to watch, to catch up on and see what's been talked about, okay? I mean, I've looked at some videos, Dylan Rounds, you know, where you look back at them, how they've performed, who's watched, and maybe 50 to 100 more people have watched since on some of the older videos, which is a positive, right? Does YouTube push them out there as much as the Kenny Veach ones? No. And I guess that's because YouTube identifies this case, not the one what we're talking about today, but the Dylan Rounds one, as just not important. And if it's not important, it's not of high demand, well, there's no point pushing it out there. That's unfortunate, isn't it? Clearly highlights that I'm not in control of it all. Shame, but is where it is. That's why you will see other people skimming, cutting and changing what they do, the trends they follow, to try and keep up with it all. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at times it's noticeable. I find it easier to focus on one case at a time, successful or not. I'd hope for it to be successful, because if it's about spreading awareness on a case, obviously you want as many people to watch. See, this is, I'm going a bit off track, but I'm going to mention it anyway because it's very silly, right? It doesn't matter what missing person case. It doesn't matter if it's true crime or not. The most stupid point a human can say, and many have done so throughout time and in the future, whether it be aimed at me or others out there. You'll get individuals that will call out a content creator for doing a video covering a point and doing it for the views. It's all about the views, and that's a bad thing. That's manipulative. There's a hidden agenda, a hidden motive. It needs to be revealed, and we need to expose this creator for making videos all about views. It's not all about views. This is a missing person case. This is serious. Don't be playing with people's emotions. This and that, this and that. Let me just give myself a minute to regroup myself at the sheer stupidity of what's been said there. Okay? When you've got a missing person case, whether it be boots on ground or spreading awareness online, you want as many people to help. That's what most people seem to agree with, don't they? You want as many people informed about the case, about the person and the details, so that in the future you're more aware, just in case you find something, someone similar to those descriptions. You want awareness. Family wants awareness. Posters are put up online and in real life for awareness. News articles are created at times for awareness of a person. So awareness and getting the attention of the general public is most important and one of the key focuses out there. But when a YouTuber does the same thing, those odd general public people say you shouldn't be doing that, but it's a bad thing. Let me just close my eyes once again because this is completely spasmodic. Okay? Spasmodic, different wording there in case some people in the background get triggered. We'll refer back to that later. But can people understand how silly that sounds? What is a YouTuber doing? Or not a YouTuber, what is a person on a platform doing? Doing a video or videos to inform as many people as possible about updates, an analysis, a key finding. To keep people up to date, in the loop of things. If it's being done elsewhere, it's also being done here, replicated, mirrored, possibly, right? From a different viewpoint perspective. Looking at it from the perspective, though, of the general public that call out certain people for doing it for the views, as if that's a bad thing, what the fuck would they be doing then if they were in the same situation? Oh, I'll recreate it right now. Just give me a second. So just imagine general public individual that calls out others for doing it for views and attention and getting as many views as possible and growing, okay? So let's be in the perspective of the person that calls someone out in that way. Here we go. Oh, hello there. hello there, what am I doing? Oh, let me create a mystery. Let me cover a mystery. Let me cover a case. Yeah, I'll do a bit of research here. I'll make it genuine, and I'll follow the story, and I'll follow in line, and I'll make sure I'm a good little individual. Even put a little dog collar around my neck, so I'm a good little boy. Yes, yes, Daddy, choke me. No, not that. But yeah, I'm just going to follow in line. I'm going to do everything correctly, above board, no manipulation, no thinking outside of the box. I won't think for myself. I'll be a slave. I'll follow in line, and I'll be as delusional as possible. And I'll just do a little bit, yeah, a little bit here, do a video there, a little bit there. And you know what? My mindset is I'm not making videos for attention. I'm not making videos for views. I don't want views. I don't want people to watch my videos. I don't want anyone to watch at all. I don't want people to comment. I don't want any interaction. I might actually make this video private. I might actually not even bother uploading this video. I might not even make a video in the first place. Yeah, because I don't like people that do videos for views and attention. No, I'll just sit here and do absolutely nothing. Oh, why has no progress been made? Why is there no more coverage anymore? Why is this case dying? Oh, this is not fair. This is not right. Why aren't people up to date on this? Why can't people understand that? Why aren't people thinking like me? Oh, it's because I don't make any more videos. Oh, it's because my videos are private. Oh, it's because my videos are poorly done and not worded appropriately. Oh, it's because I'm not thinking outside of the box and I'm not doing additional coverage anymore. I'm not consistent either, so no one's really going to know about me. People aren't going to know about my coverage or any of that. Oh, I kind of messed up. You fucking plonker, what are you on about, you stupid prat? Do you understand? What a joke, right? You're covering a missing person case. You can, there's two types and they can cross over in a sense. The people that cover cases, one-off videos, maybe a part 2, maybe. It's done quick, then people move on to the next one. That could be considered less attentive, right? Less focus and care. But a person that does it regularly, whether lots watch or not, it's because it's trying to stay active, keep it grounded and keep it active. You want a case to be solved, you need as many people to know about it in the first place, right? You want awareness so people know who's missing and who's in danger. You need as many people to hear about the news in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very silly, the odd few individuals out there over time, in any case, in any community, right? You don't go in with the mentality of, right, I'm going to make a video, I'm going to share all the latest news, and I also hope not many people watch it in the first place, just so I don't get done for doing it all for views. That makes no sense, right? You can just so happen to have getting as many views as possible and your channel growing in the process. There can be two separate things, but they can coincide or cross over with one another. It just happens. It's one of those things. But you've got to ask yourself, if you could make a video on a case or of a finding and over 15 million people watch it, right? The channel owner could be very happy and very positive for numerous reasons. But the skeptical ones out there who are a bit extreme will say, oh, that's not good. You shouldn't be getting 15 million views. You're benefiting. Bad you. Tut, tut, tut. It means 15 million people have learned about a bloody missing person. 15 million people have learned about the key details on what to expect, who to be on the lookout for. 15 million more times of chances in one of those individuals being in the right place, being in the right time, and possibly reporting in and saying, I saw that missing person, right? 15 million people in which a fair few of them could be intrigued, influenced, and may even go out themselves to volunteer and search. There's a massive knock-on effect, and it is positive. It's not quite to that magnitude here, but with some of the coverages of videos that I have done, it has ultimately led to new hikers going out there. Their own free will, their own choice. Not forced, natural. But people may have got inspired or influenced in a positive way, intrigued, interested, right? And then they've gone out there. Yeah, even from another perspective, how some do. You could make the video kind of mysterious, entertaining, and interesting. That could be deemed as inappropriate because this is a missing person case. This is very serious, very important. You can't have any fun. You're not supposed to find this fun. You're not supposed to find this entertaining. You're supposed to find it very informative, educational, and that is all. Be as stiff as a wooden pole. Do you get wooden poles? I think it's only metal. Oh, never mind. But you get the idea. I think that's just a bit too over the top and unnecessary, right? Even making videos a bit mysterious, a bit entertaining in a way, it can bring in those interested who then become more serious and go out there. Because it's the thing, with Kenny Veach, it's a missing person case and a mystery too, and the mystery of a cave. So people will come into this case for numerous reasons. Not everyone will care about Kenny Veach. Some will care more about a cave than the missing person. But still, a person that goes out there interested in looking for the cave might end up finding Kenny too if one links to the other. As I've always said, you want to find the M cave, maybe you need to find the missing person first. Or you want to find the missing person first, maybe they're in the cave already. So some can correlate with one another. I know people in the background will say, well, Kenny isn't really missing dead in that sense, he's alive, and the cave doesn't exist because it was a hoax all along to spread unnecessary mystery, and Kenny has benefited in that way and manipulated and convinced everyone, pulled wool over eyes. Look, this is what I'll say. I could do it in a standalone video too. The way I see it is, yes, there is evidence to suggest that Kenny Veach is still alive or was alive up to a certain point, okay? There is evidence as well to suggest that Kenny did go out there on his hike, okay? But the scent part at the mine shaft, where it ended, does make you think maybe he backtracked and left the desert elsewhere, and then ties in with the other evidence found along the way. But even if Kenny didn't go missing into the desert and he's okay, or was okay up to a certain point elsewhere, the mystery of the cave, even if people wanted to debunk that right now and say it doesn't exist, that's it, game over, what I would ultimately say, and I want to know what you think, JChuck, linking back to JChuck, if Kenny Veach, the mystery, is gone, and that the M cave mystery never existed, I still think that the area as a whole has mysteries within, which may be completely different and maybe darker or deeper. And people could say, why? How? Whether it be stuff Kenny Veach was aware of at the time when he was out there or not, throughout his hike footage, there was some weird findings, visually, auditory, and even if it was just Kenny's own, I don't know, his body, his voice making sounds for whatever reason throughout the video, some of it more natural than others. Other hikers with time have experienced weird things. Jeff Clark with the vibrations felt, just like Kenny. Weird, isn't it? Jeff Clark with the timing, almost like the time changing and dragging on when it shouldn't, which is weird. SB Vega's adventures, we're hearing footsteps or things going very quiet all of a sudden, out of nowhere. What the hell's going on? SB possibly also hearing voices too. JChuck most recently experiencing weird voices following him from behind. Sean Horlecker and Scott Natal hearing footsteps in the dark, being followed and stalked, and then footsteps stop when they stop walking. All kinds of weird stuff like that, and maybe much more. The sword intent too, the crystal skull. You could argue and say none of this links to Kenny, nor the M cave. It could be its own mystery. So, like how I said, a blanket to fall back onto, like when it comes to trust within people, like how JChuck demonstrates. You could have a form of trust within this case that the cave does exist and that Kenny was being genuine. But if it all falls through, don't be negative. Don't feel hopeless because you've always got something to fall back on. Sub-mysteries. The mystery of the crystal skull. The mystery of the sword intent. The mysteries of the paranormal voices and creepy sounds out there. And much more. The mystery of the UFO flying over when Iwu crew were down there in the desert, where it flew over a military base, right? All kinds of stuff going on out there. So there is always something to look at. You can say it in the name of Kenny Veach because it ties in line with the case and the area, and it makes it easier to locate the videos online and stuff. And it can just happen to still keep the case alive, so there's many positives there. So let me know, JChuck, what you think. Whether you believe Kenny Veach is missing or not, dead or not, the cave exists or not. Do you agree, JChuck, that there are other mysteries and strange things out there? Something to always fall back on and look at, even at times when there's nothing else to do? I'd say so. Big enough area. And even in the smaller zones, hot spots, activity. And as I said, you concentrate on a certain area. If several hikers with time all experienced a form of resistance when going to that area, recording it and uploading it online, and people responded badly, that could be a hotspot. Just like a hotspot in which you physically feel or sense weird things in an area, and so have other hikers with time. More going on than you think, possibly, right? As I said, we're drifting back and forth between hiker to cave and hikes out there. Referring back to JChuck, okay, thinking back to Sharon Pilgrim, I don't think I actually gave my thoughts yet, even though I said I was going to early on. The way I see it, Sharon Pilgrim's behaviour, okay? You look at the documentary, how she reacted and responded, and even when they did a little advertisement trailer, okay? Sharon did get upset. She cried, teared up, visibly noticeable, okay? If you watch that without any context as to who Sharon Pilgrim is, you're probably going to think, okay, girlfriend or once the girlfriend of Kenny, upset, saddened by his disappearance. That's normal. She's showing empathy. She seems a bit vulnerable there. She seems innocent too. I feel very sorry for her. Oh no, oh, like that. But somebody that's done research on the case, background research on her, businesses involved in, some falling through, not going well in the end. More specifically, you look at Sharon Pilgrim's questionable comments online where she said one thing, but when you look at the official police report, a different thing's mentioned. You could say she's lied. She purposely, supposedly, purposely reported Kenny late as missing. Late to the point of no chance in survival. Very questionable, and we have seen that as it's been worded officially. But not just that, her comments, and anybody new watching right now, make sure to listen in. There was a time where Sharon Pilgrim responded back to a person interested in this case who said, I'm going to try and solve it, I'm going to investigate and work it out. And you know what Sharon Pilgrim said in response? Ooh, that sounds so exciting, I can't wait. You might see that as, okay, Sharon is just happy that somebody out there is willing to try and solve it for her, bring her closure. But that wasn't just it of the comment. On top of what Sharon said, besides being excited, she responded back by saying, yes, and I will let you know if you get close to the truth or not. That sounds like a game of hot or cold. Hotter, 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 colder, colder, colder. Hotter, hot, 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 hot. Right there. Not me, but right there. That's the truth. That's what it sounded like. Why'd you be treating it like a game? Just like how, why would you be treating Kenny's suicide or suicidal thoughts as a moment to say, don't pull a Robin Williams on me? From a person from a mental health field background and profession, seems unprofessional, as we've always referred back to. So, comments like that, behaviour from the girlfriend, lying about this, reporting him missing too late when there's less chance of survival, weird. Did Sharon go out of her way in Kenny's case and spreading awareness over time? No. The case went very dead, very quiet with time. And even news articles too, became even more limited when they just started disappearing online, as Jeff Clark reported, being deleted, being removed, right? Weird stuff going on, weird behaviour by some in the case, some weird behaviours from family members or friends of friends or girlfriends, right? So when JChuck says Sharon is innocent, harmless, and cares about Kenny, I disagree, JChuck. Because factually speaking, if Sharon Pilgrim cared enough about Kenny and also knew about his troubles, more would have been done early on. And if not that, at least when it came to the hike where Kenny was only supposed to go for 2 days, and yet Sharon decided to report him missing 5 to 6 days later. That makes no sense. You could put in defence, oh, well, maybe Sharon thought Kenny forgot to respond back and he made it back home, but he didn't let anyone know about it. You could use that as an excuse, but still, if you're very sensitive or, you know, you're just very cautious at a time like that when there's already problems going on with an individual, you're going to pick up on more. You might respond quicker, react quicker, even when it's not necessary because of that hyperactiveness and just that hyper awareness because you don't want anything else to go wrong. You might overreact. You might overthink, but you can't help yourself because of the condition or situation somebody is in at a time. So you do everything you can. But being laid back and, oh well, that is a little bit odd. And JChuck, I want to know your thoughts. JChuck, let me know, what do you think about the time Sharon Pilgrim said to somebody trying to investigate the case? Sharon saying, oh, I can't wait, this is so exciting. I'll let you know if you get too close to the truth or not. We'll see. It's like she's gatekeeping information and she will only let you know or acknowledge when you have got to the truth, when you've got close enough. Why not just say it now? Maybe because it's been hidden. It's weird behaviour. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling that maybe JChuck will change in mindset and direction over time when maybe new findings come out, new ideas, right? That's a possibility. Some people could call JChuck out and say, oh, you know, him believing in this person when it's clearly obvious that they're a bit dodgy. JChuck can't see it. I guess people pick up on things differently with time and people learn at different times. Not everyone, you know, knows everything at the same point. Maybe down the line, JChuck will become more wary or cautious of Sharon Pilgrim. Things can change with time, right? You can't all be in the same position at once. It's a matter of timing. I know JChuck also defended and still thinks about Nelia. Is it Nelia? Nella? I can't remember. Nelia Osvich, that Russian ex-model gone to Nepal or Mount Everest and being some kind of mountain guide. Sounds pretty far-fetched. Some people have suggested that when it comes to Nelia Osvich, it's actually the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend impersonating the real her and faking it online. Some are saying it's a killer of the person and imitating the behaviour. Some have suggested that Nelia is actually linked to another person, another investigator in this case. When it's come to certain messages and text, that there's been patterns and links found by some in the background. From what I can remember, when Nelia reached out to me, she sent me almost 100 emails for about 4 days straight. 400 emails from Nelia. What were they about? I can't remember. It was like screenshots of comments from YouTube, some photos, bits and bobs to do with the case, but, you know, spread out. One screenshot after another. It wasn't like 10 screenshots in one email post. It was 10 separate emails with one screenshot in each one. It was that full on. But at a point I had to say, whoa, can you slow down? This is way too much to process. Was it groundbreaking stuff? Not from what I can remember. Get rid of that from there. But it was a lot. And when it came to the language and wording, it was impossible to follow at times or understand. Bad English, you could understand it if they're from a different country. But could you say it was that bad that it was that suspicious and obvious? Maybe. Because at times, if you struggle so much with a language, whichever one it might be, you've always got Google Translate. It can make things a lot easier. There's something there, right? And with time, the likes of Jeff Clark, right? Jeff Clark told Nelia so many times his skin colour almost turned green like a snake, right? That's a bit of a J Silverheels reference there if you didn't understand. Jeff Clark suggested, Nelia, use Google Translate. That's all you have to do. She never did, or he never did. So, were they listening? Maybe not. Sometimes when you responded back to them, they didn't respond back, and if they did, it was completely on a different subject or topic. Very strange behaviour, once again. Strange character, individual, imposter, impersonator, you never know. Not been seen since. JChuck has been worried, concerned, hoping for her return and appearance on YouTube. All I would say, JChuck, if coincidentally she did appear all of a sudden, just be cautious. You might see the best in people. You might think this is the one. This is the same person as last time. There's no guarantee. We've seen impersonation accounts, right? In the past, Dylan Round's case, I said early on, wouldn't be surprised if there were impersonation accounts of me. And I said that because it's what happened in the Kenny Veach case. From experience, I knew what to expect. And after saying that, weeks, months later, it happened. And I thought, well, this is just my bloody luck. I should have not said anything in the first place because look what's happened now, right? So with talking about Nelia, there is every room and chance that a fake account could pop up soon, right? Is this me predicting it? Well, you could say it's a prediction. I've mentioned predictions before based on patterns, and I've seen enough of them to pick up on stuff, right? So just be cautious, JChuck. In general, in summary, JChuck, been active in the case, more so recently. He has disagreed with people recently. He might be a bit over passionate at times, so some people might interpret it as being aggressive or dark, but it's not the case. From my experience, if it helps anybody learn, JChuck has mostly been respectful towards me or on my channel, and when he has disagreed or if he's talking to someone who might be an enemy of me, he doesn't instantly side with them. He kind of like acts in a neutral way with a form of understanding and careful wording, right? So JChuck, although he might rush on in and he's like a desert dog, he still has that moment to think, right? Think before typing. All the time, well, I don't know about that, but when it matters and when I've seen it, he's managed, right? So he's not caused me any trouble. He's not caused me any harm. He's not attacked me. He seems like a good individual for most part of it. And yeah, he might not always agree with you and he might have his firm ideas or beliefs, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. Because when it comes to the disagreements or the conflicts, it doesn't get nasty as it might with other people. So there's nothing to be really concerned or worried about there, right? So make sure to check out JChuck's channel when you do. The only other question that I'll point out, and if there's no response here, I'll just leave a comment elsewhere. But JChuck, if you are still watching, that's good. So the last time you went out there, you said that Joe May Road reopened. It's no longer closed. Does that still apply right now? Is it still open right now, or at least when you last went? And if so, when you did go down the road, when it was reopened, can you report on seeing any differences to the road? Did it look different? Was there any construction done? Was the road layout altered with, changed, or did it look exactly the same? Because if it looked exactly the same, then you could question, well, why was it closed off in the first place? Was it more as a barrier to prevent people from going on to the hike because other stuff was going on further down that way, such as those lined marks in the ground just outside of the M cave, or the supposed cave, let's say. Just let me know, JChuck, I'm interested. Whether the road is open or closed now, when you did have the opportunity to go down there in between, was there any changes made to the road or not? If so, maybe it was just, you know, redoing the road, the DNWR being responsible. If there's no changes, then there was no need for it to be closed. It must be for other reasons, maybe deeper, maybe darker, more dodgy, more mysterious. So we'll see what goes on there. And for those that are just watching right now, you gone in, be sure to rewind back to catch up on my analysis of JChuck Part 2, M-Cave Hiker, Kenny Veach Searcher, active, consistent, right? So is there anything else to add on to? Not so much about JChuck at this moment in time. Was I going to be talking about the mystery of the cave itself? No, that can be a separate video. We can always do short videos as well. Maybe it's worth doing a short video from time to time. So like when people say they want my opinion on a certain matter in a case, maybe I can also do that with short videos as well. I think when I did the odd update Kenny Veach video, show my face, it seemed to perform quite well. Okay. It was one of those things where at the time I was saying, there's an update coming. The short video that I did at the time was actually acknowledging a live, well, not a live premiere, but an upcoming video that was going to come out on the same day or the day after. I was letting people know in advance what to expect. So as for the people following and watching the case and my coverage at the time, I thought I'll do a short video, let people know of what to expect next. Because I don't always do a community tab post. Sometimes I do it in videos like coming soon, right? But I think the video blew up and people started watching and people were outsiders complaining and whining, saying this video isn't an update, this is a lie, this is false, this is not good, I'm not happy. And it's like, you fucking lazy twat, all you have to do is click on the video, then follow through with the link. And if that's not available, just listen to the words of what's said, and it clearly states that as the update is there is a new video coming which will reveal more updates on what's happening, right? It's a heads up to the people present at the time. Take in mind, all you have to do is click on the description and you'll find the date, the year, and the month of when it was posted. So there shouldn't be any problems, right? When you know the year and the date and the month, you will know whether it's an update as of right now or back then, at the time when it was relevant. There is context behind it, but not everybody can be bothered clicking on it, okay? Context for this, I've provided it. So, I think that'll do that. What we'll do now is we'll just refer back to the comments, okay? We'll transition on to the comments from the last Kenny Veach video, what I did, which was basically highlighting that Kenny Veach supposedly was hiding videos, hiding MK footage from us, possibly. Let's see if people agree or not with that. I'm just going to adjust it to the newest, like what we normally do. Fair few comments to get through, about 52, 53, but it'll be fine. We've got Cleo there. We've got Inspector Gadgets. It's good to see them again. I remember coming across them in the Dylan Rounds community. It's good to see that they are still around till this day. Says, well, at least the article has sparked some great conversations. That's true, because it's led to this video and future ones. Response-wise, I was saying how it does make me think, though, that was the news article secretly influenced by my coverage because of the timing of it all. Cleo agrees, saying I feel maybe even other channels with, their videos done have watched your coverage in the background for notes. I personally think, Cleo, if other people, other channels watched my videos, then they would have credited me by now and they actually would have included the new research. And as we know, about 90 to 99% of channels out there and new ones that come along, whether it be people shining up the crystals and shoving up so far from the rear end, or if it be pulling out a little karaoke mystery box to communicate with dead people even though they're not even in the area to do so. And the big channels, for most part of it, they just don't do the research. They tell the same regurgitated story. It's very annoying. Going about trying to inform people and give updates like how I do can be very, tiring, because not tiring in, it's so hard to type something into the keypad, but more so, you just know it's going to fall on deaf ears. So why keep fighting a losing battle? I just stick to my videos, and if people watch, great. If people come along in the future, even better, right? But there's only so much you can do. But I do feel that other channels out there may not always do research. Rebel saying the Express logo has a Knights Templar on it. Can't be anything good. Where's the Assassins at then? I've been playing Assassin's Creed last night. Yeah, I didn't there. Susan says the timing seems to reflect that. Right, was the comment the initial one there? I can't quite see it. So I don't know where Susan's comment gone, but I think the response to it basically was with regards to Kenny Veach's channel, or a comment by Kenny or something in the past has been followed on, passed on to the police to see if they'll, follow up on it and investigate further. I can't remember the exact context because the comment's deleted, but yeah. Cleo says, second time I got kicked off the chat. Oh God. Thank you for this video. I'm watching right now. Sometimes I have to rewatch things to reread and understand. So far, very good. Well, that's good to hear. And I'll do another separate video, Cleo, with regards to YouTube videos like I did the first time for you. I'll do a second one as like an update, right? So it looks like YouTube has been on naughty behaviour again, kicking people off and sometimes unsubscribing some and even turning off notifications. All out of my control, okay? We've got Glenn once again. This was the comment, I guess, in response to the other one by Susan, unless it was in a different thread. Anyway, Susan says, I sent the URL of both Kenny's Facebook page and his YouTube channel to Detective Downing of Las Vegas Metro Police Department. He said he would subpoena the accounts, still waiting. Wonder why he's hesitant. Susan says, not sure, but he did state it is not in their budget to search for Kenny anymore. Maybe they have washed their hands and do not want to put money into investigating. I mean, there's always that chance that they could be a bit lazy too. I mean, after looking at the Dylan Rounds case, another missing person situation, more true crime, the response and attitude from the police all round or at the start wasn't too great. So you can put that into perspective when it comes to other states and other police departments, how they may treat a case. They might care, they might not, might put in a lot of time, or it'll be half-hearted. It can vary. Sonny says, hope so. Well, there we go. Mr. C, shout out to Mr. C, of course, saying, good review and good reminder of what is real and not. Anyone need boots on ground? I'm here. Well, you heard that, Jeff Clark. If you got any key pointers there, feel free to ask Mr. C in the comments, okay, Jeff? Just as a heads up, because I know you, Jeff, said you were interested in people like this. Mr. C says, still a very curious case, and I'd like to know more for sure. Only 2 months out of a spinal fusion. Well, either get well soon or recover as soon so you're able to feel better. You say you're not ready to go far. Well, that's understandable. But he does say, I really would like to trace the potential steps from the phone over the pass, Wild Horse Pass, towards the upper pass, see which route he would really take, or see if it becomes clear. Took the exit out and got a ride to see which places remain he might have fallen or that he could have gotten hurt, etc. But nice review. Real details here. Appreciate that. As a heads up, Mr. C, if in the future things do go a certain direction, or you may hike there or somewhere nearby, if you got the time, feel free to check out the odd hike analysis, map analysis video, whether it be on my channel or Jeff Clark's. It could make the route, the journey there, a little bit safer or a bit more helpful, to use as a potential guide. I'm sure SB Vegas Adventures would be willing to assist in some way or provide some pointers. When JChuck went out there in the past and Jay Silverheels wasn't able to make it because of supposedly being in a wheelchair, but he did say that he risen out of the wheelchair like Muhammad Ali, but that was something completely different. But still, Jay Silverheels did say and did cooperate with JChuck through emails, messages. So many different ways to do it. Got Sonny there. Yeah. Moving on. Lightbulb saying, yes, it's mostly in other channels, comment sections. I see often the significant figures arguing amongst each other, calling each other stupid, insulting each other, and even at times there was an impersonator of Susan herself, spreading lies and misinformation. You don't see it as much now because we have a mostly positive community. Speaking on the Kenny side, I'm not associated with the Dylan Rounds community. Okay, fair enough. Well, Lightbulb, if you are ever interested in a true crime case, another missing person one, you ever get bored of the Kenny Veach case, you want something different, I've got 400 videos on Dylan Rounds, so you can check them out if you wish to in the future. And yes, it is true what Lightbulb says here, that once in the past there was a fake impersonation account of Susan Veach saying a lot of weird stuff and something about a triangular threesome or something and all kinds of weird, dodgy stuff. So maybe it is a bit understandable as to why some people out there could be cautious of the real Susan Veach who's currently around, because some people might have been exposed to the fake one in the past, first impressions, and they think that it's the same person now. Two different people, as a heads up. When you start seeing weird comments and just sounds a bit weird and dodgy, it's probably going to be a fake. The real Susan Veach account just stands out more because whilst people can try and impersonate or replicate one another, it comes down to the real personality of someone, their wording, their language, what they really think. It's not always possible to replicate, right? Moving on. Lillian looks new to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Lillian says, I hate to be negative, Warlight Raf, but please don't use the words spaz out. I'm sure you didn't mean to upset anyone, but it's really hurtful thing to say, and it's an awful slur for disabled people. That said, I really appreciate your videos and coverage on these cases that are so important. It's just words like this do a lot of harm to those who are disabled. Right, so for the middle part of your comment, appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed the videos and coverage. What I would say is, Lillian, I don't know how long you've been around for, but when it comes to language and wording, most of the time I can be very specific. But other times with wording and language, there is a language barrier. I can say one thing, but it might come off as a different meaning to others. The word spaz can also be short for spasm, a muscle spasm. A person that could have a muscle spasm isn't directly, instantly labelled as disabled, okay? So the words can have different meanings. You might have interpreted it as an insult, a slur. I didn't, right? Hopefully we're not in a politically correct, goody two-shoe, woke situation here. I mean, there was a time in the past where some female had a go at me and said, how could you use swear words in your videos? You're such a naughty boy, Raf. And I'm like, excuse me, why not just have better parenting skills then? Huh? Simple as. See, the thing is with YouTube in the background, they implemented a policy where you had to acknowledge whether your videos were suitable for people under the age of 18 or not. Okay, so if it's not suitable for children, you got to select that option. If it is suitable for children, then you select the option. And at the time, I followed through formally and I selected that my videos are not suitable for children of a young age, right? Because technically that's what everyone had to do to follow with YouTube policies. But also, it's just going in line with, at times, maybe bad words are said, swear words or some dodgy things. But at the end of the day, regardless of it's of a certain age or not, you will always get people of different ages that will find a way around and will always still watch stuff. It's like video games, dodgy websites. It'll say, warning, 18 plus, anyone under that age, you can't do this, you can't do that. People are going to be people at the end of the day. It's been demonstrated in the past, demonstrated right now. They will always find a way around. They might create an alternative account. They might pretend to be older than they are. Then they'll go in to watch those videos and material. If they get triggered by it, then, well, it's their own fault. They shouldn't be doing it in the first place, so they're going to get triggered. And if the parents get triggered, well, improve your parenting skills. Don't allow your kids to do this or to do that if it's that much of a problem, right? I do what I do, under control. Now, returning back to this comment. I mean, you say that using certain words can do people a lot of harm to certain types of individuals out there. How about instead of outright labeling someone disabled and instantly referring to someone as disabled, just view them as a human, right? Because this is the thing, you can be extra sensitive. You can be extra nice to someone who is disabled, but sometimes disabled people don't want special treatment. At times, disabled people want to be treated like anybody else, involved in conversations, involved in humour and sometimes dark humour, involved in just discussions in general. Okay, physically certain aids and assists to help people with access and stuff. Okay, but in terms of conversation, in terms of interaction, you start giving them special treatment, you're actually isolating them, alienating them, being extra cautious, treating them like kids' gloves just because you don't want to offend them. They'll probably be more offended at the fact that you are being extra cautious with them. It's like, I'm still a person, I'm still able to do this or to do that or to do something at least. You know, when you start giving people special treatment, maybe because you care, you don't want to hurt someone, it can still cause trouble at times, right? You know, you're going to talk to someone in a certain way, talk to another person in a certain way. Balance. Don't be singling people out. Treat everyone almost the same way or close to that, okay? So, in addition, the reality is here, Lillian, there's a language barrier. Okay, the language and wording what I'm using is very different to what you're interpreting. It's most unfortunate, but it is what it is. And also take in mind, Lillian, my wording, my sense of humour and my behaviour in the past, maybe at a time you weren't around, there have been people who have reached out to me considerably more vulnerable, on the verge of committing suicide, and they directly said to me, because of your humour, because of your videos, your language, your tone, your soothing voice, it's prevented themselves from killing themselves, which is very, you wouldn't expect to hear that, but it's happened. So if my videos and my coverage have saved lives in the past, why should I change it, right? Anyway, Sonny says, never heard of that word being offensive. We said it as kids. Cleo, please don't repress Rafi. Smooth fishing, saying I am disabled and it's not disrespectful to me. See, this is the thing. Smooth fishing is saying that they're disabled. At least from my point of view, I would have never had a clue, right? I mean, sometimes you probably won't know, unless it might be face-to-face in real life. But it links back to that discussion of you don't start treating someone completely differently and being extra careful and sensitive because it can come off as insulting itself rather than a word. Involve everybody in the conversations and words. Smooth fishing, he's got his own experiences. He's been important in the Dylan. Smooth fishing has been important in the Dylan Rounds community, coming from the Kenny Veach case, because smooth fishing with one's own experiences, even though it is unfortunate, it has provided a better understanding when it comes to the court cases and how things play out. So shout out to Smooth Fishing. And it's also good that Smooth Fishing, has a good sense of humour, an understanding of language wording, and doesn't get easily offended either. So good individual. And good comment. That's good to see. True, this is the dodgy fake account, okay? Weird behaviour. Says, not offensive to me, it's still disrespectful since the word spaz is a derogatory word for someone with learning difficulties. But spaz can also be short for spasm, muscle spasm. So understand that. And understand another thing. What about the Spaz 12 shotgun? Okay, do people forget about firearms? The Spaz 12 shotgun, a firearm. If I said I spazzed out like a Spaz 12 shotgun. The burst, the impact all over the place. I could be describing myself either having muscle spasms, or I could be describing myself as a shotgun, a firearm. Just like when people say, oh, police, arrest me. I'm armed, I'm dangerous, and my guns are loaded. You pull out your bicep, tense it, boom, look at that muscle. Look at those guns, right? Slang or other meanings, right? Words can have multiple meanings. Read dictionaries. Do some more research, okay? It's very simple, end of the day, okay? So, move on from some impetuism. We got a guy called Nut. Nutter? Oh, better not say that. We don't be calling someone a nutter. That might be very offensive. Naughty boy. I think Raph might need to whip himself again afterwards. Right. So Nut says, possible clues through body language, speech, etc. is what the writer's trying to get out. Yeah. Thanks, you're welcome. Vegas Girl, thanks for letting me do a reaction. Go to my board. I'll do a poll asking who played better, you or Mr. X. Mr. X impression of me or Vegas Girl. Okay. Yeah, it was good, but you did the reaction and you found it fun. That's good. You said about 50 cents. That's all you're worth. Don't worry. Currencies and, financial negotiations, Vegas Girl, all under control. Response video will come someday. Okay, so there'll be more dodgy stuff coming. Right, so, oh no, 18 replies. Right, we'll try and get through this quick. Jeff Clark says, I don't believe in the hoax for money because I watched the detectives on HLN show state that there's no life insurance. And even if there was a policy, no one could claim it now without answering a lot of hard questions. Susan provides a link there to whatever that is. Might have been DJ Moore's video. Susan says, if you go to DJ Moore's video, the HLN documentary at the 45 and 11 second minute mark, Detective Holly states, I'm not aware that we ever found anything on life insurance on Mr. Veach, but he did admit that does not mean there isn't one. It's pretty difficult just to determine if a person does have life insurance unless somebody shares that information with you or you're able to find it in their financial documents. Detective Holly was a detective who took Sharon at her word that Kenny committed suicide. He also did not analyse any of Kenny's tech equipment, laptop, camera or phone. So how much research did they do to find insurance policy? Just correcting your response, they said there was no life insurance, so that is clearly not what he said. Right, so it wasn't for definite. There's still that possibility then. Interesting. And that with the police not bothering to analyse Kenny's other equipment, which could have important data on, neglected. That sounds a bit suspicious. It's almost like Dylan Rounds, where some things might have not been investigated quick enough. Susan says, I just sent JChuck and Warlight Raph a screenshot of the transcript from the HLN documentary at the 45 minute and 11 second mark. Detective Holly did not say there was no life insurance. Jeff Clark says, for the 5th or 6th time, an insurance company does not just pay out on a large policy without doing their own investigation. You make it sound as if someone can walk into an insurance office with a claim in the morning and walk out with a check in the afternoon. That is not how it works for any substantial amount of money. Anyone who shows up with a claim for insurance money on a missing person is not only going to get grilled by the insurance investigators, they're going to be reported to the police for further investigation. Hence, there is no hoax for money. I'm going to just stop answering you if you continue to refuse to look at or understand anything that does not agree with your own conclusions. You hate Kenny, you hate the Veachers, especially Ray and Debbie, we get it, but your personal hatred proves nothing. I mean, you can be very suspicious and skeptical of someone. It doesn't link to being hateful, right? It's like my suspicion with the girlfriend, Sharon Pilgrim. Jeff Clark's suspicion with the girlfriend, Sharon Pilgrim. Jeff Clark doesn't hate the girlfriend. It don't mean to say that Susan hates the Veach family. Susan can have maybe a bit of a negative outlook on them if she's experienced it and been on the receiving end. I mean, I guess the only thing to take in mind with Susan Veach being in the presence of Veach family members in the past, sister-in-law, she might see things other people haven't, okay? And I know the next follow-up would be, well, do they have evidence then? Well, some evidence has come along the way, and if further context can be provided in the future if needed, then maybe. Anyway, Susan says, newsflash, I'm the one who contacted the Insurance Commission on August 2nd, 2021. I spoke to the head of the fraud division, and this was prior to the 7-year statute of limitations, so I'm fully aware of that the insurance will do. I sent a copy of the email to Detective Santos, to both Warlight and JChuck, but your claims that the Detective Holly stated there was no life insurance is false, as I've said before, but the video is documentation proof of what he actually said, not your version. Smooth Fishing says, I think after 7 years since he's been missing, they could have him legally dead, and once court determines him dead, and if he did have life insurance, all they would have to do is take it to them and get paid. But with no body, they would have to have him legally dead in the court system. I see. Susan responds back saying, yes, Smooth Fishing, and Detective Downing stated after the HLN went national, they would be hard-pressed to come forward and try claim it. Sin says, by the way, I never said that they could walk into an insurance office and just claim it. Never once said that. You again are making up scenarios in your head that never happened, and since I personally contacted Fraud Division of the Nevada Insurance Commission, I know better than you what is required. See JChuck for a screenshot dated August 2nd, 2021 to Detective Santos following my conversation with the Insurance Commission. Jeff Clark says, 7 years means nothing to insurance companies. So you think that a magic 7 years means that if someone is approved to purchase a $10 million policy and they disappear for 7 years, that means that they get to steal 10 million from an insurance company? Absurd. There's no hoax for money. Stop confusing the issue with bullshit. Jeff Clark says, tell me one thing that you have learned from since starting to comment on this mystery, Susan. One thing that you have learned and changed your initial conclusion in any way. You say the exact same things today that you did on the day you stated. In other words, you are convinced that you're correct and have a closed mind to anything else. You have not proven one thing, and yet you're insistent that you know what happened. Again, what is your exact theory of what happened to Kenny if you cannot even state your own theory? It's pointless to debate. Susan says, do you not know how to read? In Nevada, you cannot declare someone dead for 7 years. Since I contacted the Insurance Commission in August 2021, that was before the statute was open. So again, I never said they could just walk in and get a check, and by contacting the commission, I made sure of that. But that does not dismiss the fact that you claim the detective said that was no policy. He did not say that, just as I did not say that they could easily collect the beneficiary. You get the ideas in your head, and no one ever said that. Susan then says, you are not interested in my theory, Jeff, only yours. Well, CNN was interested in my theories. So is the producer of the new documentary coming out next year? Jeff Clark says, so the detective didn't state exactly as I remembered, so what? More distraction and pointless BS? Point in that no one is going to collect one dime from an insurance company for Kenny's disappearance without a very thorough investigation from both the insurance company and a new look from police, period. There's no hoax of money. What is your theory? What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh no. Susan says, seriously, no shit, Sherlock. I contacted the Insurance Commission. Nowhere did I say they could walk in and the insurance would hand it over. Why do you keep rambling on about something I never said? You think you know Kenny and his family and that it's all in your head too. As I said, I owe you nothing. You are irrelevant. Let me make this perfectly clear. Detective Holly did not say there was no policy. I did not say they could walk in and get a check. You accuse me of things that never was said or happened. I know more about Kenny than any person on YouTube, so don't try to psychoanalyze a person who you have never met or spoken to. Jeff Clark then says, either state exactly what your theory is or I am done responding to you. It's the same exact conversation every time because you refuse to learn anything that doesn't agree with what you secretly have in your head. In other words, it's not a productive debate because there is no reason to debate in your mind. You already know the answer, but you refuse to state it. You are like a psychic that refuses to state their prediction because they don't want to be proven wrong. Pointless. Oh God, it continues. Legally dead is not the same as ripping off an insurance company. If it was that easy, life insurance would not even exist because the companies would all be bankrupt. Anyone trying to collect a dime on Kenny would have the police laser focused on them for all kinds of possible crimes. And finally, Susan says, quit responding. I'm tired of your obsessive badgering. Get a life. I'm sorry if your life is so pathetic you feel the need to obsess over a man who you know nothing about. You've lost touch with reality. Right. So it's not really going too well there. It's a little bit ironic because I know Light Bulb said all the trouble seems to be happening elsewhere, and then on this one occasion it's it's in this comment section. But at least the most part of it doesn't always happen this, right? Let's just continue on. James saying at 2:05 timestamp, in Kenny's rattlesnake video, he pulls an orangish coloured bag out of the hut. Could he have kept it? Is it related to the sword killer's hideout? Maybe, probably not. Mormon Peak is the location of the hike video short on his Facebook. Any northeast of Vegas. Does anyone know the area? Are there MKs around the area? He's a little more subdued in this compared to his other videos. Yeah, I guess so. So James, when you're referring to Kenny's rattlesnake video, are you talking about the one where Sharon Pilgrim was holding the camera and Kenny was walking about and it was near that like abandoned building? If so, I've seen that video and it's on the girlfriend's YouTube channel, Sharon Pilgrim's. Maybe it's worth getting a hold of it before it ends up disappearing, right? And you're saying the location of it is mentioned on Facebook. Interesting. I mean, I was thinking of doing a separate standalone video for that in some way in the future. Jeff saying, why did you only shave half your mustache? I didn't. It was the lighting at the time. Right. Sonny, you're right on the article. It started out typical and weak, but got a little bit more research than the others with some possible twist of watching your videos than others. Interesting. Tree. Someone deleting the height videos. Very weird. I agree. Cleo, intense video, facial hair. Okay. Dale says, excellent video. I really appreciate your thorough handling of the issue. That's good. Appreciate that. Just a couple of thoughts. First, about the article. Apart from the Area 51 references, which may have simply been repeated references to the conspiracy theories involving Area 51, the article was very well written and presented quite a bit of information unique to that article. Yeah, I agree with you that it definitely appears that they're seeing your videos influenced. At the very least, the one concerning the cave KV was scared of. They should have given you credit. It would have been nice. As to your confusion on what Kenny was trying to get out of, I believe it was in reference to what you said in many videos that he was dropping hints or clues to something he didn't feel free to share openly. Okay, good way of looking at it. And finally, in regards to the case, the cave Kenny was afraid of, has anyone gone or searched it out physically, investigated? I haven't seen any info on that bit. It's being covered. I apologise, I missed it. Anyway, thanks for your hard work. Oh, and I love the Italian accent. Your humour is refreshing. That's good. That's all good in general. Appreciate that. More accents to come in the future, I guess. So I responded back to the question saying it was supposedly Sean Horlacher that investigated the cave. Was it 2016 or 2019? It was probably 2016 time. Didn't spend too long searching about it. I wouldn't say that Sean picked up on anything. I'm not too sure if it was like Sean's friend at the time, known as Mr. Jenkins, was stood back and recorded Sean going up there, searching about, but didn't find anything. But, you know, maybe there's a time and place for that. This random person says, nah, don't give this arse hat. I think he meant arse shat, but said it wrong. Don't give him any credit. He profits off of Kenny's death by falsehoods and cap claims. Guys, scum of the earth, profiting off of the guy's death. If you look through his videos, when it starts to stop making him money, he switches topic, and as soon as he thinks it can make him more money, he rehashes the same points in a new video, and he's worried about getting credit. Absolute scum of the earth. He seems to have quite a strong opinion there, but you can't really back it up with any facts, can you? All you do is complain, whinge and whine, and have a default profile with zero content and zero contribution to the case. If you think you're a better individual, why not cover the case? Clearly you haven't, and clearly you've not done enough research to understand the patterns and trends of how I do things around here. Okay? As I said, most recently, yes, Kenny Veach could be considered more popular. I actually moved back to covering the Dylan Brown's case, which was deemed unpopular. So that completely turns and flips upside down your observation there, which is invalid and incorrect. So congratulations. Anything else? I agree with the analysis of trying to get out was my first thought as well. Another point towards proof of being alive. And true, button. Every comment helps. Like button. Thanks for your support. Stay skeptical. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, so if anyone wants to, if you want to, feel free to like and share this video right now, just to help spread the awareness of the case and more people can learn about it. We got Kostadin Dinov. Okay, not too long to comment, that's okay. Saying something about the cave spooked Kenny. The one mentioned in the article where he says, "Dunk, dude, I'm not going up there." Yeah, personally, I hear dude. But anyways, have you noticed how Kenny gets startled when he pans to it? The camera sort of does a little jump or jerk motion just as he sees it. I think so anyway. Interesting. Christie suggested that when Kenny was walking away from there, when he said, "I'm not going up there," he actually walked quicker, so maybe something did make him jump. So you say, you recently made a video where you explored the idea that the entrance area looks like an M, and it does. Maybe it's just me, but the cave itself sort of kind of looks like a sideways M. Oh yeah, I think, yeah, I get that. A few people have suggested that too, like if you were to tilt to the left. Yeah. So, from all the videos I've seen so far, with people going in that area, the covered up M cave looks most suspicious to me. Yep. SB Vegas Adventures has a video in 4K where he shows it from all angles and even up top. Yeah, I remember that. And he says it looks natural to him. Maybe it's because he's in person and you can get a better feel for it to me. Looking at it from a monitor, it looks like those rocks are being moved by someone. It appears unnatural in my opinion. So Dinov, When SB was there at a point in time when he was stood on top and he was looking down at it, there was an area where there was a missing big rock which fell onto the ground, and Jeff Clark documented that in 2022 at some point, right? So someone has been there in the background secretly trying to remove it and uncover that area. They didn't get that far, but still, they tampered, they altered the environment, and it's been done anonymously, which makes it spooky. Who else is out there and for what reason? That's unknown. But I do remember when SB Vegas Adventures was out there, same hike or a different day, with somebody, when maybe SB was collaborating with that other YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers. I'm sure either in that one or a previous video, SB also mentioned the possibilities that the covered M cave could be some kind of portal and it might open at different times. So SB is open for interpretation of his thoughts and ideas, which can change with time, okay? So you say, I wanted to address one of the comments left by another user about Lars Mittank. They said his disappearance inspired Hostel or Hostel 2, the horror film. But that can't be possible because Lars disappeared in 2014 and the movies came out in 2005 and 2007 respectively. Lars' disappearance is mysterious and sad. There's CCTV footage of him running from the airport and jumping a tall fence. I believe it was 2.5 metres high, after which he was never seen again. Wow. Sounds spooky. That might have to try and look at it someday. I mean, all I can say, so Hostel came out 2005, 2007. Wasn't there 3 to 4 different Hostels? Hostel 1, Hostel 2, Hostel 3. And then wasn't there a final one that came out? Maybe that was at a later date. Could be wrong. Maybe that's what the person was meaning by influenced by the later Hostel, even though it was already around. So you couldn't really be influenced, could you? Anyway, you say, I quite enjoy your videos. I don't know what hysteria people in these articles are talking about. Your analysis videos and theory explorations or anything but hysterical. In fact, I find them well composed and thorough. Keep up the good work. Will do. Appreciate that. Good comment and seem like a good person too. So that's good to know. And all the thoughts, taking it all in as well. So that's good. What's this again? Couldn't make more money any other way, so you went back to profiting off of lies about a man who took his own life. You're beyond pathetic. Let the dead rest in peace. Continuing on. Making more speculations I should seem familiar since I've called you out on pushing falsehoods before and far from a default profile. Also, I did the research. There isn't anything supporting him being alive besides your whack job conspiracy theories. He killed himself lightly down the same vertical mine shaft they found his phone next to. So let the dead rest and stop flogging a dead horse for money, you scumbag. Well, if you've got such a problem, why are you still here? Okay, if you think you've already solved the case, why are you still here in the community? Why not move on and do other stuff if you're such an investigator? So, making more speculations since I've called you out before. Right, so you have been around before, but your profile, your username has changed since, or at least your tag handle has adjusted, right? Joined 8 years ago. So all you do is complain. No change there. So it looks like your username has changed because I've not seen it before, but I've seen this language and wording similar before. So you've already admitted that you've been around before. You've already been a hater and a whingy whiner that complains and lacks reasoning ability, impetuous individual. You say that what I suggest and the evidence that I've covered is all false and misinformation, and you know it's a waste of time, and yet you claim that Kenny's just simply down the mine shaft. You know, your response there is very regurgitated, like what the majority of people do on the outside, you know, force of the case, who don't do the research. You say that Kenny's slightly down the mine shaft, yet there is no proof to suggest that, is there? Oh, the phone's there, but the coins are there, so he must have jumped down it. Doesn't really make much sense, does it? Because, if you think about it, if Kenny wanted to take himself out and not to be found, you wouldn't leave the phone in the same spot as where you're going to die. Come on, use logical thinking. Maybe you don't have that, but at least try to. Okay. Also take in mind, people have been down there. 2017, Jeff Clark descended in there, didn't find any remains or any hints. Even before 2017, 2014 Search and Rescue went down there with a camera. Not themselves, just a camera. They didn't see much. 2017, Jeff Clark went down there physically, didn't find anyone or any clues. 2018, group of guys went down there, didn't find anything, no change. 2021, 22, Scott Natal went down there, didn't find anything. SB Vegas Adventures, 2023 or 22, between those. SB went down there, didn't find anything. You see a pattern, don't you? Okay. Have you been down there yourself? Yes? No? If not, why should you even be in the situation to be stating that he's down there when real people, boots on ground, have gone out there and went into the mine shaft and found no remains. Nothing. So, pathetic. Skeptical, lightly. Isn't proof he's passed. Finding his cell phone isn't proof he's passed. True crime mysteries are about the analysis of the case. Newspaper analyse, news channel analyse, documentaries analyse. Nothing wrong with that. Whoever or whichever they're supported, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Jeff, also responding to True Light Button. Only one person has accused suicide, but if he did do that, he didn't do it in that mine. Search and Rescue may have done a crappy job of searching it, but there's still nowhere for Kenny to be in there. And I said, Jeff Claw and others have been in there themselves and not found anything. So continue to whinge and whine, okay? You could be doing more productive stuff, such as covering the case from the real perspective or helping other cases down the line, but you choose to do what you do here, so well done. Final comment. Right, we got Keith. I don't know why I go into an Australian when I hear his name, Keith, because he's not even from Australia, but there you go. He says, thank you, you're welcome. For fun, this morning I was reviewing opinions on Reddit, and for the most part, all opinions paralleled the popular opinions we've all seen and embraced ad nauseum. But then ran across this fringe theory, which I've never seen before. Here it is. Let's see. In quotes, but less than a year ago, I watched another YouTube video where the creator posted a pretty long videos with his opinions and theory that Kenny used the M-Cave disappearance to allow him to begin the transition from being a male to a female, and had video evidence to back up that claim of a female who does look a lot like Kenny, and that they're living near a Native American community as a female now. But similar to aliens, UFOs, USOS, can't get that, it's tongue twister, M-Cave, as in the secret portal to Area 51, Bigfoot, compelling YouTube video of him, claim, can't be found, Most popular Reddit theories seem to be 1. Suicide, 2. Accidental death, 3. Faked appearance. Note my homicide theory is present, but seems like the majority have taken the girlfriend's word as gospel. That is such an unfortunate situation, how outsiders believe that the girlfriend is 100% innocent. We need to look forwards, don't we? We need to look forwards as a whole, as a community, to see what can be done to spread awareness, to get rid of that regurgitated, unproven point of suicide just because it's said by one individual. How can we reverse that gospel into reality? I'll try and work that out in time. And lastly, Susan says, oh my god, the transition theory killed me. I think because Kenny was all about interior decorating, people think he's gay. Yeah, if you knew what Kenny's home life was like, you would understand. He told me when my mum died in February 2014 that he would love for me and my son to stay at his home. He's very proud of it, as he should be, and told me thought he got his desire for decorating from me. If you transition, you would have to be a lesbian because he really liked women. Well, there you go. And that's said by a Veach family-related member who's been in the presence of Kenny in the past, so yeah. So it appears like this video may have gone on longer than anticipated, naughty, but hopefully people were able to find it interesting. If you do have any additional comments or questions, list them down below because we can always get back to them eventually. And just let me know your additional thoughts. You want to catch up on the latest videos, I symbol top right corner. You want to follow the links down below, feel free to do so. And, shout out to people that have been watching regularly and those in the background too. Not the lurkers, not the really dark lurkers. You haven't said that. But, the people that just watch in the background, listen and follow along, that's all good. So we'll see what happens next. Getting close to Christmas, obviously slow down once it gets too close. If there's room for 1 or 2 more videos, then that can definitely be done. I think the poll was to do a light-hearted one at some point, so I'll try and get that in time. And yeah, I think that'll do for now. Just be on the lookout for possible other videos in between, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, good night for now.